Coming up on the Sports Desk, we check in with 3 different volleyball squads from around Torrance with 3 different objectives for 2014. And South football has been the surprise storyline of fall thus far. Their perfect season on the line against 2013's departed Pioneer League champs. Plus, Elko soccer started the season with 4 straight draws before getting a W under their belt. Now that the focus is on their conference schedule, it's time to get their first South Coast win. All that, plus scores and updates from local, prep, and JC sports. The Sports Desk starts right now. Hey there, Torrance. Welcome to a new week on the Sports Desk. I'm your host, Wan Hernandez. We start things off on the volleyball court with the El Camino Warriors this week. On a stretch of 4 consecutive South Coast Conference titles, LaValle Pattison has her program running like a well-oiled machine. Even after dropping their last non-conference match, there didn't seem to be much for them to worry about. So, now that we know to expect wins from Elko, the only task left is understanding how they'll do it. A quick glance through 2014's El Camino Volleyball fan program. First thing you'll notice is a declaration by Coach LaValle Pattison. This squad will set some defensive records.
We have some phenomenal defensive players. Nicole and Darlene Lee. Brooke is getting a lot of touches. Sadie Fraker's a good defensive player. And I think if we're not the biggest team out there, just like normal, but if we can create some more chances for touches, then put the ball away. It just gives us more point scoring opportunities.
For a program with 25 conference championships, including going for a 5th consecutive in 2014, 4 state championships, and 17 appearances in the state tourney, setting records isn't exactly heavy hitter news. But examining the roster gives insight on why defense has to be this squad's bread and butter.
We have good hitters, but our biggest players are maybe 5'10". Kim Haney is probably our biggest, and Laney on the right side. And then we're not that big in every other position, but they're smart players, and they tool the block very nicely. So they might not be the biggest, but we try to teach them a high volleyball IQ really quickly.
10 of Elko's 15 volleyball players come from high schools within Torrance, showing that much of the program's success also comes from chemistry and familiarity. Conference opener victory over Cerritos, they allowed just a .012 kill percentage over the 3-set win. It's a long way to go before locking up another conference title, but early on, it all looks like business as usual. The Warriors follow up that conference opening victory with 2 more South Coast matchups this week. Meanwhile, in the high school world, Bishop Montgomery coach Keegan Featherstone would no doubt enjoy leading the Knights to the same success and dominance built by Elko's Pattison. In her first season on Bishop's campus, the Knights limped through the preseason before a strong showing against the Del Rey League punched their ticket to the CIF playoffs. Today, we get the state of the Knights as they settle into Featherstone's sophomore coaching season. If the ladies of Bishop Montgomery Volleyball ever had a chance to use that rebuilding phase excuse, the time would be now. They're led by a second-year head coach implementing a program-wide philosophy. The 2013 roster graduated 10 seniors, leaving behind just 2 returning seniors for this season. But after watching the Knights through the first month of the 2014 campaign, it doesn't look like they'll be leaning on that rebuilding phase anytime soon.
We've got 2 freshmen, mostly sophomores, and a sprinkle of juniors and seniors. So we're very, very young, but I knew the potential was there. I mean, we graduated one of our top players last year, Ashley Murray. But I'm telling you, our seniors this year, Tess Allen and Taylor Rudine, senior captains, and then our returning libero, Jessica Cito, who's a junior captain, came back they are exceeding my expectations.
The Knights lost just twice in September. Both were best of 3 non-league tourney matchups, giving the Bishop girls reason to believe this team is on the verge of something special. By this time a season ago, they had already suffered 8 losses, half of their entire season total. The Knights gave a glimpse of that something special in their final non-league match, a 3-set sweep of El Segundo, and the simplest way to put it, they're having a lot of fun.
especially in the beginning of the season, court chemistry is something that I force them to build, but we really work on that a lot in the preseason and work on team chemistry drills that may or may not be comfortable for them, so that they're getting to know who they're playing next to and, again, working on their roles.
Coach Featherstone is still in the process of building her system at Bishop, a program that will emphasize players understanding their role, their individual strengths that can match up against each opponent's unique lineup, rather than just throwing out the best 6 every night. So that team chemistry should be a handy tool in topping last year's second-round playoff appearance.
Before they came over here, before we picked the team, they really didn't know anything about each other. So just seeing them grow as friends on and off the court is really neat to see. That's why we play sports. These are going to be lifelong friends for them. So they continue to work hard, and the results are showing that. So it's good.
The Knights followed that home win up with another 3-set sweep, this time against rival Sarah for their first league win of 2014. On deck this week are 2 more Del Rey League matchups. Keeping the focus on coaches in Torrance's volleyball scene, Torrance High comes into 2014 with a fresh face running their show. Colin Kushner has the story on how the new Tartars regime hopes to bring the Crimson up to speed with powerhouses South and North.
The Torrance Tartars have had their share of struggles so far this season, but with the new coach and a new system in place, it has been an adjustment period for all.
We're running a different defense than what they're used to. We're running a slightly different blocking scheme and hitting scheme, so they're adjusting to us, we're adjusting to them.
Despite the Tartars' rough start to the season, Coach Squire is still encouraged by her team's performance.
They're picking it up great. I mean, it's tough when the first year. It's generally considered a building year, so we're doing well.
South has had Torrance's number in recent years, but Coach Squire is really trying to change her team's mentality so they can finally get over the hump and beat their Pioneer League rivals.
For whatever reason, these girls have the over Torrance mentality. So we're working really hard on just changing how they interpret themselves. Because I think they're their biggest critics. And once they get over that, I think that it'll change.
Torrance will look to snap their losing streak against South later on this month. An outside hitter, Jackie Fernan, says defense and blocking are the 2 things the team needs to work on. From Torrance High School, this is Colin Kushner reporting for the Sports Desk.
Coming up, the South Spartans are 2014's early favorite for a Cinderella story. Next up for the Mean Green, a run-in with 2013's Pioneer League champs. So, does the clock strike midnight on South's undefeated record?
My new mom and I have a lot in common. The great outside. We both love the outdoors. So shiny. That's not a flower. We both love geology. Oh, look. An igneous one. That's not a rock. And she knows a lot about wildlife. A labradoodle. That's not a dog. Hanging out has been kind of fun.
You don't have to be perfect to be a perfect parent. Thousands of kids in foster care will take you just as you are.
You can't buy a best friend. You can love them, pet them, care for them, whether they want you to or not. You can take a picture or 50. You can bring them with you wherever you go. You can jump, yell, hide and go seek, play dress up, or not. Go for a walk, or not. You can fly to the moon, travel the world, or just stay in bed. You can't buy a best friend like that. But you can adopt one. 'Cause we're connected. We're connected.
Hi, welcome back to the Sports Desk. The South Spartans have been the surprise team of the South Bay this year. It wasn't long ago when they dropped their first 6 games of the season, finishing the 2013 campaign 2-8 overall. Fast forward to 2014, winning their first 4 games of the season, all by an average of over 30 points. Next up, a date with El Segundo, the team that steamrolled through the Pioneer League a season ago. And the Mean Green over at South getting rowdy and ready for a matchup of undefeated squads. Straight to the second, South down 17-0. Lars Nootbaar connects with Brett Medford deep into South territory. And a few plays later, Ryan Kelly takes it up the gut for the score. Gundo takes a commanding 24-0 lead at the half. Third quarter, Gabe Zuniga finds Carl Richardson deep in Eagles territory. And the Spartans are looking to come back. 2 plays later, Zuniga hits Richardson again for the score. It's 24-6. El Segundo still on top. Fourth quarter now, Eagles leading 30-6 and things getting crazy. Zuniga gets picked off by Elijah Hale on the tipped pass. And then on the ensuing Eagles drive, Ryan Kelly going to find daylight again, his 4th TD of the season. Gundo downs the Spartans 37-6. South drops their first game of the season. Let's hear from Spartan senior Bailey Biazovic after the game.
You know, this is a good team that we played. All around, we could have played a lot better game than we did. I think we just might have had bad habits during practice this week, and it was a short week of practice. And I think if we had longer practices, we would have came out a lot better and stronger.
Gabe Zuniga wrapped up 174 yards through the air and added 79 on the ground in South's first loss of the season. The last time the Spartans beat the Eagles takes us all the way back to the 2010 season. The West Warriors have been mowing over teams left and right. In their first 4 games, they outscored their opponents 147-49. The Warriors overcame 3 fumbles in the second half to stay undefeated against Carson. They get the big W 41-19. Running back Brett Ogie continued putting up Madden-like numbers, rushing for over 100 yards and 3 scores. Ogie has at least 2 or more touchdowns in each of the Warriors' first 5 games this season. This is the 3rd consecutive year the Warriors have started off 5-0. And guess what? The last 2 seasons they did that, they lost Game 6. Rock Hollis & Co. have been having a roller coaster-like season over at Torrance High. The Tartars lost their first game, won the next 2, and then lost to El Segundo. Well, they would jump back in the win column with a huge victory over the Lawndale Cardinals. Torrance was down 20-6 at the half, but the Tartar D showed up, and the rest of the gang came out to play in the second, putting up 33 points and holding the Cards to just 12 second-half points. Torrance hung on to win this one, 39-34. Tyree Harris had another huge night on the ground, rushing for over 100 yards on 13 carries. Meanwhile, quarterback Vince Huey, 13 of 20, 166 yards and 3 touchdown tosses. Let's head over to the JUCO football scene. Elko coming off that heartbreaking conference opener loss. They'd get key players back from injury in their second conference game, including quarterback Joey Notch and running back Kendall Sparks. Elko's defense was strong early, keeping the Warriors in this one. In the second half, though, it was all Riverside. The Tigers would score 21 second-half points and take this one 31-7. Elko had 4 turnovers, 2 of which were returned for Tiger TDs, and had 74 yards in penalties. All 3 quarterbacks got some snaps, and each one of them threw a pick in this game. The Warriors remain winless in conference with 5 games remaining in the regular season. All right, everybody, we're going to go to break. Coming up, Elko Soccer opened up their fall avoiding losses but never doing enough to get a win. Can they learn to finish off opponents in time to get some conference results? One thing's for sure, they're going to have plenty of chances to do that.
Minds can achieve anything. We make sure they get to college. Federal student aid provides more than $150 billion in grants, loans, and work-study funds to make college possible for anyone with the mind to get there. Because if given the chance, minds will do great things. Federal Student Aid, proud sponsor of the American Mind. Learn more about money for college at studentaid.gov.
Living near mountains, woodlands, and wild places is a dream come true for many, except during wildfire season. That's why people are working with their local planners to help ensure that wildfire protection is part of the planning process for communities near the beautiful and wild parts of our state. Learn more at planning.org. That's planning.org.
Hi, welcome back to the Sports Desk. Through the first 4 matches of 2014, El Camino College remained undefeated. They also remained winless in that same stretch, and while draws may be an acceptable result in soccer, no doubt the Warriors were frustrated by the way they were earning those draws. For example, against Santa Monica, they even came as close to winning as a 2-goal lead with just 3 minutes to go. But by the end of it, just another draw. The frustrations didn't end after earning their first win, a 9-0 rout of Victor Valley, because it was soon followed by a heartbreaking conference loss to Mount Sac. With their second conference matchup of the year coming against East LA, it was time to iron out all those kinks. So, to Elko we go. Straight to the 39th minute, Elko 1-0. Daniel Muro in space puts it by Andy Gutierrez. Third goal of the season for Muro, 2-0 Warriors going into the second half. Second half now, Warriors looking for offense. The cross to Carlos Perez, just wide and just long for Perez. Then Muro gets a one-on-one with the goalkeeper once more. The rebound right off his hand. So the Warriors left frustrated and looking for that third goal. Finally, the play of the day as the game winds down, 2-1. Daniel Teodoro, juke, clear sailing to the net, but East LA's Benjamin Cuevas tracks him down. Warriors' persistent offense doesn't get that third goal, but they do hang on for the 2-1 win. Coach John Britton after the game.
We need to finish our chances. You saw from the game today, we created a lot of chances, certainly some one-on-ones that we should have taken care of and put the game out of sight, but we didn't. So we'll be focusing on putting the ball in the net at more frequent intervals than we did today. Yes, we can score, but we can't defend. But obviously we tightened it up a bit today. It was very frustrating because in a lot of games we dominated the game. We would be ahead in the goal count, and then we'd give up silly goals the last 5-10 minutes. But it's great to come back here today at El Camino, and really good performance the first half. Second half not so good, but to get the win is good against a good team.
In the cross-country scene, 2 Torrance athletes dominated the 13th South Bay Cup. Wes Yusuf Badur took first place for the boys, running the 2.5-mile race in 13 minutes 9 seconds. He was followed by 3 Warrior teammates in 2nd through 4th place, all that leading Wes to a first-place team standing in the event. For the ladies, South's Kimberly Kosha won with a time of 14 minutes 44 seconds, just under 40 seconds ahead of 2nd-place runner Grace Katena, another South teammate. Before we say farewell for the day now, time to pass along how you can get in touch with the Sports Desk anytime. We're always just an email away when you have a great story idea, you want to see us out at a game with you, or you just want to drop in and say, hey. All right, everybody, that's going to wrap up another week on the Sports Desk. We will see you next week.